Namaste. Namaste. Welcome. The Upanishad, the MUNDAKA Upanishad, that's what we are going to talk of today. The Upanishad of the shaven head, the Mundi. Mundi means the shaven head. Not the skin head, please. The shaven head. The Upanishad of the Mundi, MUNDAKA Upanishad. So the shaven head indicates detachment. Detached engagement, of course. So this Upanishad has 64 mantras spread across 6 chapters. Very long Upanishad. And this Upanishad belongs to the Atharvana Veda. And hence the same Shanti mantra which we chanted last time, I will do the same Shanti mantra. So let me do that. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhirya Jatraha Sthirairange Pushtuvagum Sastanubhi Veshema Devahidam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti Nastarchyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspadir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So may we all come to hear auspicious words. May we all see only auspicious sights. May we live a healthy life with strong limbs and a clear mind. May Indra, the first of gods, and Pushan, the nourisher of the world, and Tatsyaha, the protector of the world, and Brahaspati, the guru of the world, be kind to us. Peace be, peace be, peace be. So that's the mantra. Now, this Upanishad begins with a proposition that no knowledge is complete without self-knowledge. That's the purpose. No knowledge is complete without self-knowledge. And this knowledge, self-knowledge, can be gained only through contemplation. Contemplation done by a quiet, detached, informed, and empathetic mind. These are all very important. A quiet, detached, informed, empathetic mind. And when you undertake that contemplation, this knowledge gets revealed. It's a revelatory knowledge. Like all paradigmatic knowledge is revelatory. Where it is the relativity theory revealed to Einstein, or the gravity theory revealed to Newton, it is revealed to them. It's an already existing phenomena, knowledge. So this I call paradigmatic knowledge. So this knowledge is revealed to a contemplative mind. And then it was transferred or taught to successive generations. So it said this knowledge was revealed to a great rishi called Atharva, long back. Atharva taught this knowledge to Angi, his disciple, maybe his son or his disciple. Angi taught this knowledge to Bharadwaja. Bharadwaja taught this knowledge to Angiras. This is the succession. This is how the knowledge got transferred from Guru to Shishya, and the Shishya himself become a Guru or herself become a Guru, like that. The disciplic succession, as they say. Like theory of relativity is being transferred to generations after generation. You don't have to rediscover it. You don't have to reinvent it. So the Upanishad says, no knowledge is complete without self-knowledge. Brahma Vidya Sarva Vidya Pratishtham, he says. Brahma Devanam Prathamaha Sambhabhuva. He says that Brahma Vidya was given to this or revealed to this Bharat. Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sabbrahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham Adharvaya Jeshtaputraya Praha. So he got this knowledge of that. And in that disciplic succession, the last person is, with whom we are dealing now, is Angiras. So that is first thing. It has to be gained through contemplation. The second important thing the Upanishad says is, without self-knowledge, no knowledge is complete. No knowledge is complete. Because we know, you this modern knowledge, you have flush toilets or thinking robots. You have vaccines, vaccination. And you also have the psychological palliatives. But still the suffering continues. Suffering has not ended. That is why the Upanishad says, no knowledge is complete without self-knowledge. And we all have some general knowledge about ourselves, that I exist, you exist, I am. That knowledge is there. It is self-evident. But what kind of I am you are? What kind of knowledge do you have about yourself? I am immortal. I am ignorant. I am unhappy. This is the knowledge. Up to I am is okay. But how do you predicate that I am? By saying that I am mortal, I am ignorant, I am unhappy, I am angry. That is how you predicate that knowledge. So there is some problem there. This state is called ignorance. This state, this knowledge, which is a defective knowledge. Because we have not analyzed it. So therefore, this knowledge is I am, that is predicated by the thought. It's only a thought. What is the thought? I am unhappy, I am miserable, I am mortal, I am lonely, I am unhealthy. This is how we predicate, qualify that knowledge. Therefore, and you are not happy about this knowledge anyway. Therefore, we need a reflection. And you can independently reflect. Possible. But when you independently reflect, the problem is we come to an adamantine wall of ignorance. We are not able to break through that wall. Or fear of the unknown. Or distractions. That's the problem with independent inquiry. Who is inquiring? The same ignorant guy. So we always face this problem of ignorance or sleep. When you undertake this inquiry, you feel sleepy. Or distraction. Or the fear of the unknown. What will happen to me? At least I know something about myself. I don't want to inquire further. And hence, we require the help of a guru. Your contemplation should be preceded by an encounter with the teacher, a dialogue with the teacher, or a study of the scripture. So after this dialogue with the teacher, that is what I call an informed mind. An informed mind should undertake this inquiry, a dialogue with the guru. Then if you contemplate, then this knowledge becomes yours. What is the knowledge? Instead of saying, I am mortal, unhappy, unhealthy, and miserable, you gain the knowledge, I am immortal, I am happiness, I am healthy, I am okay, I am Shiva. That knowledge. So you are changing the thought. So this is the project, what I call the Brahman project, that we are undertaking through these discussions and dialogues. So having said this, now we find the Upanishad opens with the statement, Shavanago havai mahashalaha. A person called Shaunaka, Mahashala. He is a very successful person, wealthy person. Mahashala. He has a huge house. But he was performing rituals, he did everything, but he could, within his knowledge. And still he found himself wanting. He didn't feel himself complete. He still had this feeling, I'm not okay. So he comes to Angiras. Angiras, what the benefit of getting this knowledge from his guru. He comes to Angiras and asks a very interesting question. Enquiry begins with the questioning. He asks the question, Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāde sarvamidam vijñādam bhavadīdi. Knowing which or gaining which knowledge, I will come to know everything. It's a very profound, I call it $1 million question. Knowing which or having which knowledge, I come to know everything else. That was the question. Kasminnu bhagavo vijñāde sarvamidam vijñādam bhavadi. Or egasmin jnāde sarvavid bhavati. Give me that knowledge, the master key to life. So I can open all doors. That's what I want. Even we find even in modern science, this desire is there. A theory of everything. A unified field theory. Or the God particle, isn't it? Once you know God particle, I can explain everything. So you need a master key, knowing which I come to know everything. Or knowing which all other knowledge becomes secondary knowledge. Give me the primary knowledge. All other knowledge like physics, chemistry, biology, sociology, psychology, everything becomes secondary. Because we have seen with all this knowledge, we are not still feel complete. Still misery remains. So the project of the Upanishads is to remove your misery and make you a happy person. So with all the knowledge, modern knowledge, I ask you a fan question, are you okay? Are you comfortable? No. The more I know, the more discomfort I feel. The more confused I become. The more I feel I have to know more. So there is one knowledge, knowing which you feel comfortable, happy. After all, the purpose of all knowing is to be a happy person. At the end of the day, if you are unhappy, what the heck? What is the gain of that? So he asked this question, Kasminna bhagavo vijñāde sarvamidam vijñādam bhavati. Knowing which I comes to know everything, or after which all other knowledge is secondary, is all in addition. Without this knowledge, no knowledge is perfect or complete. That is by sarva vidya pratishtham. This knowledge is the foundation of all other knowledge, self-knowledge. This was his demand. So there is a saying in philosophy that to know one is to know all. To know one is to know all, because everything is related. Everything is related. To know one, you must know everything. Or if you just know only one, then you know nothing. That knowledge is incomplete. So you'll continue your inquiry. So I need that knowledge. This is what I call $1 million question, a very challenging question, knowing which I become a happy, fulfilled, flourishing individual. That's what I know. I must know about myself. Otherwise, I am a blind person. Probing into things, but I am myself blind. I need that eye to see things. This was the demand made by Shavanaka, and I hope this is your demand also. At least in this class, this is our demand. I want to have that knowledge, self-knowledge, gaining which I feel complete. Then it's all a play thereafter. Thereafter it is a play. I may try to know physics, chemistry, biology, economics, sociology, psychology, everything. I may come to know. It's a play. Otherwise, without this knowledge, nothing is complete. And hence, when Shavanaka asked this question, Angirus said, okay, sit down. Let's have a discussion. So he begins with saying that there are two types of knowledge. Dve-vidye vedidavye. Two types of knowledge. Paracha, paracha. One is called the higher knowledge or inner wisdom, inner knowledge. The other is the lower knowledge or the outer knowledge of the outer world. The objective and the subjective, let us put it that way. These are the two types of knowledge. And Dve-vidye vedidavye. And in the lower knowledge or aparavidya in Sanskritam, paravidya, aparavidya. Para means higher, apara means lower, para means inner, apara means outer, para means subjective, apara means subjective, whichever way you want to take it. There are two types of knowledge. And the aparavidya, let us first deal with the aparavidya. In the aparavidya, you have secular knowledge. The secular knowledge is very necessary for your own creature comforts. Your own physical survival, secular knowledge is necessary. That fire is hot. If I jump from the 5th floor, I will fall and break my head. Isn't it? All this knowledge is necessary. This is called secular knowledge, Bhuta Vidya. The Upanishad is not discounting the need for that knowledge. We need that knowledge, Bhuta Vidya, Apara. Also, we need knowledge about the mind, how your mind works. What are the problems of the mind? How do you relate with the other? What is called the theory of mind. An ability to know what the other person thinks so that you can accommodate him in your scheme of life. So knowledge about the mind and relationship and ethics, which is called Dharma Vidya. First is Bhuta Vidya. The next is Dharma Vidya. And the third knowledge is called Brahma Vidya or Adhyatma Vidya. So let us first deal with these two knowledge. What we call Bhuta Vidya and Dharma Vidya, or knowledge of the material world and knowledge of the mental world. The knowledge of the mental world, the preoccupation with the religions of the world. Religion means religare. Go to the roots and try to find the connections. Dharma Vidya. And most of the people, when they say the self, they only mean the mind. Not beyond that. Not beyond. Because they are the dualistic. Their understanding of the self is dualistic. So the Dharma Vidya or knowledge of the mind or Jivatma, in Vedanta we call it the Jivatma, is very important. And to deal with the mind and the limited self, the religions prescribe rituals, prayer, meditation, rituals, and pilgrimages. And in Indian tradition, we prescribe Agni Vidya or fire worship. Earlier it was fire worship, later it became pujas or fasting. All those disciplines are given. So here this Upanishad says, if you engage in the fire Vidya or worship of fire every day, Agni Vidya, Agni Homa, etc., Agni Hotra, etc., then the Upanishad promises certain relative peace of mind, isn't it? When you see the fire, Kali, Karali, Manoja Vacha, Sulohida, Yacha, Sudhumravarna, Spulingini, Visharujicha Devi, Lelayamana, iti Sapta Jikhva. The 7 flames of the fire. When you sit in front of that, you feel a certain peace, certain elevated sense, isn't it? So they prescribe Agnihotra or Murti. You have a Murti, Krishna, Rama or Christ, and look at that Murti. Then you feel a certain sense of elevation. So Agni Vidya or Puja is prescribed, and the Upanishad promises that will deepen your awareness a little bit. That will bring some peace of mind. And Upanishad also says, after death you go to Sargaloga. That is the weight they are giving you. After death, if you do Agni Vidya or fire worship every day, then you go to heaven. So heaven is promised. Peace of mind is promised. Certain depth of consciousness is promised by doing the fire vidya. If you sit in front of fire, the home of fire, you can feel that. Your mind becomes a little quiet. You feel energized. You feel my day is made. Or doing a little puja, take a flower and offer it to the Lord. Then you feel a certain elevation. And the Upanishad also says, along with this Agnihotra or puja, if you do social service, Ishtapurtam, social service, Ishtapurtam, then you gain a little deeper state of mind. And also, after that, you can go to heaven and get a higher place in heaven, he said. Nagasya prishte sagrudenu bhutva. Little more temptation, isn't it, to do this. In heaven, you get a higher place. But in this life, you get a little more inclusive understanding about things. Then the Upanishad says, you can also add a meditation to that. Upasana. So 3 things. Agnihotra or puja, and coupled with social service, Ishtapurtam. Ishtapurtam means serving the poor or keeping a kitchen for the poor or having a library for the others or a garden or dig a well, all for the society. That also deepens. You become a little more inclusive in the process. And the promise is, after death, you go to a higher place in heaven. Then if you add upasana to that, upasana means you are contemplating upon your own inner self. That's called upasana. Various upasanas we have discussed. Omkara upasana or prana upasana or jyoti upasana. Meditate upon the light or om, the sound, or your own prana. That if you add that upasana, then you go to Brahma Loka, it says. And here you develop a deeper consciousness. So these are the 3 disciplines prescribed in the Vedas. Is it not interesting? It's interesting. Instead of sitting and cribbing and crying, do something, he says. Do something for yourself. So these are the disciplines said by the Upanishad. But the problem is, still we feel limited. We expanded our circle a little bit. Still the self that you experience is limited. Still there is fear. Still there is fear of coming back. Of course, after going to heaven, when the punya is over, you have to come back. So I want to break out of this cycle. How to do that? So the Upanishad, this is a question of Shavanagha, he says. I'm no more interested. I have done all this. I have done social work. I have done pujas. I have done pilgrimages. I have also meditated upon the prana, om and all that. But still I feel limited. I'm not broken out of that limited experience of ourselves. So what should I do? Is the next question. So he says, and again, the Upanishad says, mere Agnihotram is not enough. Agnihotra is to be coupled with various other rituals also. Once you get into the ritualistic lifestyle, it gets on, you keep on adding. Because fear is there. Did I do it properly? Today I couldn't do that. Because I was sick or there was rain. I could not go out. So this Agnihotra is to be supplemented by many other rituals also. What are the rituals? He said, I'll give you just a darsha, a ritual on the new moon day, a ritual on the full moon day, a ritual on the autumn season, a ritual on summer season, ritual on rainy season, ritual on Uttarayana, Dakshinayana. So, one ritual will lead to various other rituals. And you have to do the rituals properly. Sometimes you forget a mantra. Or sometimes you are not able to do that. As a result of that, this ritualistic lifestyle full of fear, anxiety. Did I do it properly? How many mantras I have to chant a day? How many pranayamas I have to do? Did I do it properly? You are never out of fear, he says. Still you remain an unhappy self. So, he says, and also the Upanishad says, when you do the ritual, these rituals and the social work, upasana, etc., create certain apurva, certain inner power. That apurva will take you to various lokas. Suryasya, these are all very interesting stories. Suryasya rashmibihi sargalogam nayandi, he says. When you drop your body at the time of death, your jivatma, your soul will ride on the rays of the sun and the moon, he says. Very interesting. These days, scientists are thinking like that. They want to ride on the rays of the sun to go to higher lokas. What are the higher lokas? Maybe moon or beyond this galaxy and all that. So here also Upanishad says that you will be able to, your soul will be able to ride on the rays of the sun or the moon and go to different lokas. But Shavanagha was not impressed by any of this. Shavanagha says, I'm tired of all this. I still feel unhappy, miserable, limited, anxious. I'm not broken out of that illusion, that field of ignorance. Therefore, what should I do? So the Upanishad Rishi says, yes, for you is the Paravidya. Paravidya means self-knowledge. The Paravidya. So, yaya tad aksharam adhigamyade. By this Paravidya, you will be able to attain or gain enlightenment, knowledge, immortality. Yaya tad aksharam adhigamyade. So how do we start this journey to our own immortality, our own enlightenment? How do we start this journey? The Upanishad says, experiment with everything. Parichalogan karmajidan. Experiment with everything. Experiment with the material world, the world of consumption, the lifestyle of consumption. Experiment with everything. The power, world of power, money, wealth, position, name, fame. Experiment with it. Parichalogan karmajudan. So, experiment with whatever you can gain by effort, by work, by science, by technology. Try to gain it. Experiment. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes you are not that successful. When you are not successful, you feel disappointed. When you are successful, you feel frustrated, isn't it? I made all the effort. I got a lot of money and power. But still I am frustrated. On the top of the heap, I feel cheated, betrayed. Because I have all the power and the money and name and fame. Haven't you seen people of name and fame committing suicide at the age of 28 or 29? So therefore, he says, this path is not, I come to a cul-de-sac, I come to a dead end, I'm not able to move forward. So what should I do? So this is called viveka. Now you develop a viveka. Viveka means an ability to distinguish between the real and the unreal. All this that I have gained is not that real. It just fizzles out. It's like a rainbow. It looks interesting, but I'm not able to hold it. So that viveka comes. All that I have gained from outside, by hook or crook, let us say, all that I've gained is not that important. Because these fleeting achievements, it doesn't give me that lasting satisfaction. That knowledge is very, very important. Because we are doing the same thing again and again and again. We have become addicted people. You know you don't get much out of that, but still you continue to do it. Like smoking. You know smoking is bad, but still you smoke. Similarly, though we know this is not the path, but we are stuck there. By the time we are old and tired and they say, I am done. So he says, first of all, develop this viveka. That what I have, this pursuit is not the real one. What I have is fleeting. Finite. This is finite, not complete. That viveka has to arise in us. For that, the Upanishad gives an example of two birds. For viveka, Upanishad gives an example of two birds. Two birds on the self-same tree. One bird is going up and down, jumping up and down, pecking at fruits. Some are low-hanging fruits, some are on the top of the tree. It jumps up, comes down, isn't it? When you jump up, you sit in the White House. When you jump down, you are frustrated. You go up and down, one bird. Sometimes you are successful, sometimes you are failure. Sometimes you peck at bad fruit, sometimes you peck at sweet fruits. This way, one bird is going, flitting up and down on these branches of the tree. Dua subarna sayuja sakhaya samanam vriksham parishashrajati. And there is another bird sitting quiet watching all this. This tamasha, this circus. Spitting out some fruit, eating some fruit with relish, then getting stomach upset. Isn't it? Then you say, I should not have done that. Then you continue to do that. So one bird is going up and down, another bird is simply watching. Two birds. These two birds are there in you. Your body is the tree. One bird is the doer, suffering bird. You do a lot of things. At the end of the day, you are suffering. Even at the peak of your success, you are dissatisfied. Another bird is simply watching. So this bird, that watching bird also is within you. This other bird which is running up and down also is within you. One is the light, the other is the shadow. Isn't it? Earlier in Upanishads we have seen that. Chaya tabau, the light and the shadow. The witnessing self and the active self and suffering self. Two self. The suffering self and the witnessing self. So this you have to discover within yourself. There's a suffering self. There's a witnessing self. And the suffering self, after some time, after this running up and down, from pillar to post, it also sit down now. It will become quiet. Isn't it? Sometimes it happens to you. You sit down. I am done with it. Then this bird, suffering bird, become conscious of this witnessing bird. My God, there's another bird sitting on this tree. I was completely oblivious of this bird because I was so much preoccupied with myself. I couldn't listen to anybody. I couldn't see anything. Suddenly it discovers, my God, there is this another bird sitting very close to me. And when you see that bird, that's called viveka buddhi. Awareness of a higher self in you. Otherwise you are lost in this other bird. This viveka is to be developed. So Shavanaka was told by Angiras, first you have to develop this viveka, experiment with everything. And then come to me. So Shavanaka said, Maharaj, I came to you after experiment with everything. Parikshalogan karmajidan brahmanaha. Nirveda maya. I am coming to you with nirveda, vairagyam, viveka, with detachment. I am detached, I am done with all this. I am coming with it to you. I have already had that. I have been doing rituals, I have been doing all that prescribed in the Dharma Shastras. Now I am coming to you. So, Parichalogan, Karmajidan Brahmana. And I am coming with the insight now. What is the insight? What I want in life is something lasting. Akrudam. What is lasting cannot be produced. Please. This is very key information. If you are looking for something lasting, which is called happiness, which is called the truth, which is called the self, which is called God, it cannot be produced by effort. If it is something lasting and permanent, it must be ever existing. If you produce something, it is fleeting. What is produced can be destroyed. What is born shall die. What has got a beginning will have an end. So I got this insight now. What I am seeking is something infinite, which cannot be produced, which should be existing there, ever existing. So he praises it God. Earlier we have said, Nahi adruvehi dhruvam prapyade. Now here he says, Parichalogan karmajidan brahmanaha nirvedamayanas agrudaha krudena. What I am seeking is something agrudam. Agrudam means not produced by work or by any effort. It should be self-existing. It should be there. It should be self-existing. And it is infinite and self-existing. It cannot be away from me. Please understand that. If it is away from me, it should be limited. Because it is away. I am not included in that. Both of us become limited. I become limited, that object also become limited. Please think about this, reflect on this. If it is away from me, it should be limited. If it is produced, it should be limited. Therefore, this phrase is very important. Agrudam krudena nalabhyade. Agruda means which is self-existing. And by effort, you cannot produce it. Therefore, what should I know? You should know it. You should know it as non-separate from you. And I'm moving very fast in my logic, in my thinking. It requires a very, very contemplative mind. If it is away from you, it is finite. If it is produced, it has to be finite. Therefore, it is neither away from you nor it is produced. It is self-existing, non-separate from you. What you seek is non-separate from the seeker. Doesn't make any sense to you. It requires a lot of thinking, lot of reflection. I'm not seeking something inside me. My God, then you sit quiet. This is how you become quiet. I am seeking myself. I'm seeking myself. So this Shraddha is very important. Satyameva jayade nanrudam satyena pantha vidada devayana. The Upanishads say. Truth alone prevails. Truth alone exists. Untruth cannot exist. Satyameva jayade nanrudam satyena pantha vidada devayana. Truth alone prevails. And the road to truth is paved with truthfulness, he says. What is truthfulness? Truthfulness is an alignment between words and deeds. That is truthfulness. So when there is alignment between your thoughts, words and deeds, then you become a truthful person. And through that truthful lifestyle, you reach the truth. You realize the truth, you see. So Satyameva is a very important mantra in this Upanishad. Satyameva jayade nanmrutam satyena pantha vidada devayana. Through that truthful life, I reach that. This is called Shraddha. Shraddha means whatever I am seeking is already there. It is non-separate from me. In the Upanishad, this is called faith, commitment. And committed to this understanding. It's an ontological choice you make. We have to make this choice through understanding. Then the Upanishad says, therefore, what should I do now? What should I do? So here again one more example is given. It is like shooting an arrow and hitting the bullseye. Example of an archery is taken. To hit a bullseye, to hit the target, you have a target. What do? You take the bow. You take the bow and set the arrow to the bow and draw the string and then release the arrow, isn't it? So there is a bow, arrow, string and the target. So here the Rishi takes that example. The bow is Om mantra, he says. Om. The arrow is your mind. Set your mind to Om. And next talk I will be talking about Om in detail. Set your mind to the bow of Om. The arrow is the mind. And the string is viveka, detachment. So draw the string backward, set the arrow to the bow, and then release the arrow. Release the mind by chanting Om. Then Brahmavat Bhavet, then you will reach or you will gain this enlightenment. So what is required is detachment, Om chanting, and focusing the mind on the Brahman or the self, which is infinite bliss. And as a result of that, you reach this destination. So what you require is viveka buddhi, inability to distinguish between real and the unreal, and certain commitment, shraddha, that what I am seeking is non-separate from me. And then with this chant Om every day, then you will definitely reach this destination. And while you are chanting Om, you also can practice pranayama. Because when you chant Om, actually you are doing pranayama, isn't it? Om is pranayama. Deep breathing. Om. Thus, you will be able to abide in your natural self, he says. So this process of setting the arrow and reaching the destination is called Nedi Sampradaya. Not this, not this, not this. So here the Upanishad gives a very beautiful mantra for that. Yattad adresham agrahyam agotram avarnam achakshushrotram tad abanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagadam susushmam bodhayonim paripashyanti dhira. What is the Nedi Sampradaya? Whatever I see, I am not. I am beyond that. I am beyond what I see. I am beyond what I perceive through the five sense organs. Of course, I am seeing things. I am perceiving through the five sense organs. But I am beyond that. Like this light which illumines this table is beyond the table, isn't it? The table cannot be seen without the light, but the light is not conditioned by the table. Similarly, whatever I perceive through the five sense organs doesn't affect me, the consciousness with which I am perceiving it. Isn't that difficult? Very simple. Very simple. So watch that. Yattad adreshyam agrahyam, it cannot be seen, it cannot be perceived, it's beyond that. Similarly, I am observing my thoughts and my emotions. I am observing them. So the consciousness is beyond that. Is beyond that. Similarly, I am also conscious of my limited identity, built upon my memory. And that memory also I can observe. Therefore, I am beyond my memory also. My pain and suffering I observe. Therefore, I am beyond that. This is how Nedi, not this, not this, not this. These are all coming and going, isn't it? My suffering also comes and goes. Today I had a toothache, tomorrow I may not have the toothache. Today I hate you, tomorrow I may love you. Isn't it? So these are all fleeting, coming and going. Phenomenal, as they say. So this way, I have to go beyond, deepen myself. Go beyond means deepening your awareness, extricating your awareness from the external and the psychological and the emotional. And then play with it, please. Then play with it. Then you can play with your emotions, your thoughts, your memories, your relationships. I'm not saying that you will not experience all this. But you can play with it. Like when you watch a movie, you will be able to watch all these things spread out in the field of your consciousness. This gives you the true knowledge. So viveka, shraddha, and at the same time, this vichara. Vichara is like this. And the Upanishad gives a lot of mantras here for meditation. Meditation, you use these words. This is called Shabdana with the Samadhi. Use these words. What is those words? Purushaham, I am that consciousness. Amurtaham, I am all pervasive. Bahya Abhyantara, I am inside and outside. Apranaha, I am beyond the breath. Amanaha, I am beyond the mind. Ajaha, I am immortal. Shubraha, I am pure. I am pure. Instead of saying I am a sinner, repeat that I am. That repetition becomes a meditation for you. Because words can rearrange your brain cells. Because your brain cells full of words. From childhood onwards. Your father called you, you are a stupid person. Your mother called you as stupid as your father. Isn't it? Everybody has been blaming you all the time. This is the script in your brain. You have to re-script the brain with the new words. Your brain is nothing but a collection of words. Namarupa, Upanishad says. Just words and words and words and words. And that is what you are now. So we have to hear these new words now. What are the new words? These are the new words. Purushaha, Amurtaha, Bahyabhyantaraha, Pranaha, Manaha, Ajaha, Shubraha, Akshara, Paradaparaha. Play with these new words. Because your identity is woven out of this word that you hear. So the Upanishad is bringing a new set of words, a new way of thinking about yourself, a new way of experiencing yourself. So they gives you Anubhyaha Anuho, I am subtler than the subtlest. The subtlest is an atom, isn't it? Or a proton or a neutron. Even the subtlest neutron is experienced in your awareness. Of course, at this point, neutron is an idea in your mind. You have not seen the neutron. You have not seen the proton. It's only an idea. That idea also is shining in your consciousness. Therefore, subtler than the subtlest I am. Avihi, then what are you, sir? Prakasham, he said. Avi means prakasham. I'm pure light of consciousness. Ananda Rubaha. My nature is bliss. Of course, there is a blister on my foot. That is a different case. But my nature is bliss, he says. My God, I never knew this before. My nature is bliss. Say it. Say it again and again. Ananda Rupa. Amrudam, I am immortal. Virajam, I am sinless. Of course, the whole world will try to make you a sinner. Make you unhappy so that they can sell their products. Isn't it? Because unless you are unhappy, you will not consume the way you are consuming. Voracious, like a pig we are consuming. Because we feel that inner lack, inner emptiness. As he says, Virajam Jodisham Jodihi. You know, this mantra is all, most of the Upanishads you find. Natatra Suryo Bhadi, Nachandra Taragam, Nema Vidhido Bhandi, Kudoyam Agnihi. I am the light of all lights. So put these words into your system. Let these words become the algorithm of your brain. So that you experience it very deeply. Some people say, simply saying, what is the use of simply saying? Words are all. How can word change me? Of course, that is true. Simply saying doesn't help because this is the truth. This is the truth. Earlier it was a deviation from the truth. So, say it again and again. It's called affirmation. You have to affirm. This is my nature. So first day is go up and realize your nature as a supreme, blissful, boundaryless consciousness in the light of which all these experiences, psychological, physical, memory created experience are playing out. And from there, when you look at it, in the Buddhist scripture, there is a saying that the Bodhisattva goes up to that boundary of enlightenment, then he looks back. When you look back, the whole world is experienced in a different light. Have you ever gone to a mountaintop and looked at the valley? If you are in the valley, you don't see in valley in perspective. The rivers and the fields and the little hills and then and animals grazing and the butterflies, you don't see them because you have got a very narrow vision. Once you reach the mountaintop, and from there we look at it, the valley looks so pretty and beautiful. In perspective, you can see. You can see the river, the trees, and little hillocks, and the animals and the cows grazing. Like even when you go to Switzerland, go to some hills and look at the whole valley, so beautiful. Similarly, from this height, when you look at everything, everything falls in place. Everything is beautiful. Everything becomes meaningful. Everything has got a place. Everything is mutually adding to its beauty and relevance. That experience you get. So, from there when you look at it, you experience yourself surrounded by the Buddhas. Buddha means the sensate objects. The sensate objects are dancing around you. Similarly, the inner thoughts and feelings are dancing around you. Arayava radhanabha, we say. Radhanabha means the hub of a wheel. The hub of a wheel has got the spokes around it and then the rim around it. Similarly, you have the self, consciousness, thoughts, the spokes, and the world, which are like a rim around it. You experience Arayava Radhanabha. That example also is given by the Rishi. From the center, now you are pivoted there. The thoughts arise. These thoughts reveal a world for you. So, Atra eda sarvam samarpidam arayava radhanabho. And then you understand the mind is an instrument which I have. Manomayahayam. This mind is a facilitator for me. Manomayaham. Prana sharira neda. This prana also is an instrument for me. Annam anne pratishthidam. Anna means the body. So the body, the prana, the mind are all tools which I use to express myself, my own inner joy. Earlier you were so much identified with them. Now you no more identify. The mind, the body and the prana, these are all tools that I use to explore and express myself, my inner joy. Even activities, interaction become a way of exploring and expressing my inner joy. So this is an addition we make here. Generally our idea is that once I reach Brahman, that's my goal. Thereafter, to hell with the world. That's not what the Upanishads says. You cannot reach Brahman, you are Brahman. You cannot reach happiness, you are happiness. Realize it. And this happiness is to be expressed, to be experienced. Therefore, the interactive world is a necessary condition for you to explore and express this happiness. So reaching Brahman is not the end goal. We have to start from Brahman actually. So you need a quantum leap. Some people think I have realized Brahman, then I have nothing to do. No, that's not the Upanishadic idea. Having realized, to realize Brahman means this continuous interaction with the world, continuously being challenged and challenging the world. Like even a piece of sandal, the more you crush it, the more its fragrance manifests. If you don't crush it, it only gathers moss around it. So with this Brahma Vidya, you become a very robustly active person in the world, interacting, acting. This we have to realize. That is why the Ishavasya Upanishad says, live 100 years with this understanding. That is why Krishna said, don't run away from the battlefield. Be there. You have to discover yourself in that battlefield. So, Hiranmaye pare koshe. Upanishad says, so this has to be understood in that inner light. That is the inner light. Having said this, now we understood that that's me, and that is not only me, all of you are that. So there we have a common home, a common source, regardless of whether we are male or female, rich or poor or educated, uneducated, white or dark or brown or yellow. Doesn't matter. This is our common root. That is where we have to pivot ourselves. Having done that, when you look at from there, Upanishad, everything comes from there. Everything is a play of consciousness. I have said it again and again. To explain that, here the Rishi gives an example again. Because most of the teaching is through metaphors. Because it's not pure logic. Pure logic is, it takes you at a process of regress ad infinitum. So it is through metaphor the teaching. A metaphor given is, how does Brahman manifest as all this? How does consciousness become all this? You see, modern science, it is a big bang, isn't it? Why the bang? From where the bang? They are not able to answer. We don't know what is that. So consciousness is a fundamental reality because we all are experiencing consciousness. So the Upanishad says, from consciousness everything has come. How? Yatha urnanabhihi srijade dhrnade yatha pradivya moshadayaha sambhavandi yatha sadat purishat kesharamani tad akshara sambhavandi kadishya. Give the example of Urnanabhi means Luda, the spider. Reading this particular portion of the Upanishad, one of the famous Western philosophers like David Hume, he got disappointed. He said, this Upanishad says Brahman is a spider. That is their understanding of God. God is a spider. Sir, this is only an example. This does not mean God is spider. But this great philosopher, Hume, who had a great influence on Western philosophical thinking, he came to a hasty conclusion because he does not know the methodology of Indian knowledge creation, knowledge dissemination. The methodology is totally different. So it is not that Brahman is like a spider. Why that example is given? Because spider creates the web out of its own saliva and sits at the middle of the web and play, enjoy, isn't it? So similarly, Brahman creates the world out of itself. Consciousness itself manifests as a world of thoughts and things, and then identifies with it and experiences the world. So yatha urnanabhihi, the urnanabhi is just the creator of the web, he is the efficient cause of the web, and the material for the web also is created, taken out of him. So just as the Luda, the spider, is both the material and the efficient cause of the world. As the material cause means, out of its own saliva, it creates a thread. So as the thread, the spider is all over the web, isn't it? And the efficient cause is the master of the web, the enjoyer. So similarly, Brahman has created the world out of itself and then enjoys as you and I. Enjoys as you and I. So we all are Brahman project. Let me put it that way. So, yatha urnanabhihi srijate grunade yatha. That is one example given. Example of a spider. To emphasize the fact, Brahman consciousness itself has become the world. And still beyond the world, because spider is not just a web. He is immanent as well as transcendent. Another example is given. Yatha prudhivyam oshadaya. Like many plants grow out of the tree, out of the earth. We give water, the same manure, fertilizer. But different trees, different forms of the trees arise out of that. So the same water, same air, same sunlight, different trees, isn't it? So similarly, the same Brahman, this manifold world arises. Because we have a doubt, if Brahman is the same, consciousness is the same, why these differences in the world? In answer to that question, this example is given. Then another question is that, so this is consciousness, from consciousness is inert things appeared. How is that? Because the cause, the qualities of the cause must be in the effect. A mango tree can give only a mango fruit, isn't it? So how is that from consciousness, the material, inert world has come? It is like this, he said. You are conscious, aren't you? But you grow hair and nail. Hair and nail is insentient. Just as sentient beings create hair and nail, which is insentient. Similarly, from this consciousness appeared this world, inert world. Everything is answered. Now you reflect on this. You reflect on that. So, yatha urnanabhihi swijade grinnade yada sadapurishat keshalomani pridhivyam oshadayaha sambhavanti tatha akshara sambhavadika vishwa. This is how the world manifested from this. Then also say tapasa chiyade brahma. It's only a thought in consciousness, a disturbance in consciousness. Because of it, the whole world, Triguna, Panchabhuta, Panchakoshas, everything manifested. Stars and moons and whatnot, everything manifested out of that. So there is a long list of things which manifested out of this. I just read for you. Edasmat jayade pranaha manaha sarvendriyani gham vayuhu jyodirabha prithvi suryaha chandraha dishaha vak veda parjanya vashadaya annam redaha prajna yajnam kradavaha dakshina samvatsara nijamana devaha sadhyaha manushyaha pashavaha vayamsi vrihi. Vrihi means wheat. Wheat also came from the same consciousness. Isn't it interesting? Then he says, Shraddha, Satyam, psychological qualities. These are all objective. Satyam, Brahmacharyam, Vidhi, Samudraha, Graya, oceans, mountains, everything came out of that. You can read in the Upanishad. I don't want to go into that. Now, once you have this understanding, the Upanishad promises. What is the promise of the Upanishad? Vidyade hridaya grandhi. Chiyande chasya karmani. Chidyande sarva samshaya. All your doubts are dispelled now. There is no more doubt. You become a spontaneously righteous person. There is no more asking, should I do this, should I do that? Should I meet that person? No doubt at all. Spontaneously, right? Like a bird trying to fly, it spontaneously lifts itself. Like a flower trying to bloom, it spontaneously blooms. Like a river flowing spontaneously. Like children playing. You become a spontaneously right person. Choices become spontaneous. Not much racking of the head. So, chidyante sarva samshaya, this is the experience of that. You just flow like that. Nothing can stop you. There's no doubt. There's no calculations and all that. So, vidyade hridaya grandhi, the ignorance. Grandhi means the knots in the heart, which begins with ignorance. Then selfish desires. Then accusation and hoarding. Anger, violence. Everything is gone. Lock, stock and barrels. Isn't it? When the light comes, the darkness is rolled out instantaneously. Then he says, Chiyande chasya karmani, all the memory which has been bothering you all this while. I did that, I should not have done that, etc., etc. You're free from all that load of memories. Chiyande chasya karmani, tasmin drishte paramri. And from where, when you look at it, you say this is all a play of consciousness. Brahme veda amrudam purastad. I see only Brahma everywhere, he says. I see only happiness everywhere. I see only myself everywhere. Brahma paschad, when I look at behind or friend or up and down, in and out, I see the same light. Same bliss, same joy, same spark. Somewhere the same Upanishad says, it is sudiptad pavagad, let the conflagration, the fire, these sparks come out. Similarly, the whole world is sparks from the same consciousness. So that is how your experience. And then, thereafter, nadivadi, you no more argue with anybody. No more argument. No more desire to convince anybody. You become quiet. Somebody says you are a stupid person, thank you. That's it. Somebody says you are a wonderful person, namaste. So, whatever people say, you see who is behind that. In what light they are saying. Not what they are saying. Who is saying? So immediately you go beyond and see their true nature. There's no more quarrel with anybody. You cooperate with everyone. You create that synergy and energy with everyone. You always see an opportunity in all calamities. So, na adivadi bhavati. This unnecessary argument. I try to argue you down and you try to argue me down, and then we all are trying to find arguments rather than understanding the person. Not what he says or she says. So your whole outlook changes. And then Brahma Krida, because you are reveling in yourself. You're reveling wherever you are. Brahma Radihi, and you are blissful. Therefore, with this understanding, I feel so beholden to my gurus, beholden to my tradition, with this. So, Namah Paramarshibhyo, Namah Paramarshibhya. My salutations to all these great teachers, this great knowledge, the great scripture. My salutation. Thank you. Finally, you can take a breath and say, thank you. That is how the Upanishad ends. Thank you. Thank you. So, with that, the Upanishad ends. And now, the next lecture talk will be on another interesting Upanishad, called the Mandukya Upanishad. The Froggy Upanishad, frog. This Upanishad is given by the frogs. Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad is exploring the structure of existence, the topology of consciousness, the autobiography of the self. That is what Mandukya Upanishad is all about, which we will be seeing next time. Thank you very much.